What is up, my people? Welcome back to the channel for another album review. I'm your boy Nassim the Dream. If you're new to the channel, just go right on ahead, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell as well to always keep notified on my newest content. And today, I will be reviewing the newest 1975 record, Being Funny in a Foreign Language. This is the brand new 5th studio album from English indie rock pop band The 1975. The 1975 undoubtedly is considered to be one of the hottest bands in modern indie music, especially due to the beginning of this band's debut with their self-titled record, The 1975. Songs like Chocolate, Robbers is my personal favorite, Hard Out, just to pick out a few, are huge reasons why I fell in love with the band and why millions upon millions have too. Songs like Chocolate, my personal favorite, Robbers, and Hard Out, just to pick a few, are huge reasons of why I fell in love with this band. But especially with the talents that uphold in this band, with the members bassist Rock McDonald, drummer George Daniel, lead guitarist Adam Hand, and one of the most unique sounding vocalists in current rock pop music, Matthew Healy. After their self-titled debut comes the sophomore record, I Like It When You Sleep, For You Are So Beautiful Yet So Unaware of It, that dives deeper into more pop influences, including some electronic sounds, new wave sounds, and soul sounds. These are two records that inscribed a loyalty upon millions and millions of fans waiting to see what the band does in the future. But sadly, I will say the next two projects the band had to offer, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships and Notes on a Conditional Form, were pretty big letdowns in my opinion, that are majorly consistent with bloated rock pop tracks that show no substance for the most part, with very little tracks that do offer something. And even though I did find these latest two projects to possess very little enjoyment based off the amount of tracks presented, which was a lot by the way, I still didn't lose faith into the band. Cause like I said, those first two projects were more than enough for me to stick around with the band continuing on. Looking onto the concepts that 1975 has written into their lyrics throughout the years, this one is honestly not so much different based off its many topic choices based off love interest, circumstances that involve being in a relationship, and even the decay of the soul due to heartbreak. So we're gonna begin this review by revisiting my thoughts about the singles released prior to the album. The first single, Part of the Band, demonstrates creative variations of string uses from violins all the way to acoustic guitars with movement that sounds like a lullaby. This song also features some of the best singing we heard from Maddie, as the majority of this album shares a lot of great highlights from Maddie alone. Next is the song Happiness, which by the way was my first backlash for my reaction videos. This is actually the second reaction I've ever made on my channel because I didn't love the track, but I still thought it was decent. I only gave it the yellow emoji. That's not a bad rating. And though I do still mainly feel the same about my opinions on that first thought, I will say it makes quite the endearing intro to the record, with now coming up with a bit of extension with some more instrumental playing in the beginning. And this is a song I was able to warm up to based off the original radio edit, but I will also add that I think it goes slightly overboard in the non-edit with a lot more solo time that we really already need. It just kind of feels dragged out on a certain point. After this, then I reacted to the track I'm in Love With You, which is way more, by far way more infectious than the rest of these tracks altogether. Beautiful string embellishments, great glimmers of crystalline chimes, awesome hook along with a punchy intro that is still stuck in my head. Heartbeat. For the next one, All I Need to Hear is also a gorgeous endearing piano ballad that quote unquote was made to sound like a cover recorded in one take. And interestingly enough, this track was also performed as an acoustic piece for the first time at a surprise set at Phoebe Bridgers' reunion tour, which by the way, I just want to add, I still freaking love her cameo in the I'm in Love With You video. I love that part. Okay, now that we got the singles out of the way, let's talk about what the rest of this LP has to offer. So the tradition into beginning off a 1975 record is start with the intro, the 1975. What makes this introduction so different and unique for this album are the piano stabs and baroque pop melodics, making one of the most favorite introductions that I've really ever heard from all their albums. That is something I do feel like I gotta really revisit to really confirm that, but I feel confident that this is at least one of the best ones out of all their 5 records. Because it also does so well as an opener alone. It really reels in the audience to get in such an excitement for the show while also creating a progressional scene building onto the next track. On the third track, Looking for Somebody to Love indulges some more tempos and 80s synth pop tropes that honestly sound a lot more like the same writing techniques for Bleacher's How Dare You Want More, which hilariously enough, this was the point in the album when I actually realized Jack Antonoff actually helped produce a lot actually all of this record. So, I mean, that kind of clears the air to my ideas of this particular song. So, it also makes it a little bit better for me. Like, okay, I'll let this one slide. And in my reaction to the live version of Oh Caroline, I did state that this is probably my favorite impression out of all the tracks I've heard so far from this album. But I really do like the song still, but I think I would really hold my favoritism still to the live version, but that's just really based off preference. This song still really displays some really great moments and passages, along with really displaying some of the more darker tones that the album has to offer, lyrically at least, that basically states this all-time low position and willing to do whatever it takes, this lost lover of like whatever she wants him to do, including suggesting for him to kill himself. And then by the 8th track, we're left with only all new songs, 4 to be exact, including this one I will be talking about, Wintering, which still portrays that kind of San Francisco vibe setting in the late 80s kind of deal, which still bringing in some great moments instrumentally on the side of things. In my opinion, this does also tend to get a little bit too wacky and all over the place, which is a little bit too much hyper notion that doesn't exactly make a great transition when coming off of All I Need to Hear. And I mainly critique this moment with the way that the vocals are in sync with the instrumentation. It's just not really connecting with me personally. On Human 2, this features an absolutely jaw-dropping, beautiful piano piece along with some bass lines, some tambourines, and a couple unique background tones. But what really makes this song shine bright is the endearing vocal performance by Matt Healy. Like, god damn, dude, these vocals, man, I'm telling you, there is the perfect amount of pacing with the absolute perfect amount of portioning given to Maddie, the exact right mix on top of the instrumental that really deserves to be heard with much clarity because it is that beautiful. It really does keep on par as well when it comes to the themes that this particular song presents when it comes to fragility and weakness with the way that Maddie is singing with this tune. But no, wait. Who's knocking at the door? Boom! Hits us with a shoegaze element with About You. I love the hazy feel to this, guys. Love the duets. I also really love that the callbacks that this song and most of the record also make to their debut album, not only about that record specifically in certain songs, but about their experiences that came with it. Which, coming to the closer when we are together, ties us into this light acoustic indie jam that really falls into deep melancholy themes about pretty much the end and the suffering of the aftermath of this relationship that Maddie tells us about. For the verdict, I gotta say, I think I agree with Maddie on his thoughts about this record. This is probably some of the best ideas, some of the best creations and performances that the band has done yet. While this record isn't earth-shattering, it certainly shows a huge amount of improvement, a vast amount in my opinion, based off their most recent material. This record can definitely rank up high with their first 2 records, which I stated in the beginning of this review are some of my most personal favorite projects from the band. And yes, I may have found some moments on the album that really felt like they were just beating around the bush or just not really so original, or maybe even for me a little bit nitpicky about the arrangement of the tracks, because I really feel like some of the initial singles released could have been a little bit more scattered around this album, because I felt like the last 4 tracks were the most impressive out of most of the material on here. And again, this is just me being a little bit nitpicky about it. I wouldn't really say that this is something that really deducts from my review of like the total percentage I'm gonna give this record, because I'm just saying it would have been nice to hear some of these songs at different moments perhaps, because I really felt like my impression would have been a bit more higher. But man, I don't know, there's some really solid songs on here still. Like overall, I really did enjoy my time with this album. This is definitely a huge improvement based off the last 2 records, and I'm definitely looking forward to revisiting this album. I'm gonna give the 1975's Being Funny in a Foreign Language a 77%. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you're enjoying, go to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this project. Down in the description, you'll also see my separate tracklist ratings for the album, more videos, and also the links to my social media accounts so you can keep with me on the daily. And I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Doses.